Hi, welcome back. I'm Chuck, and today we're going to make a coffee bar with a built-in beer fridge and some wine storage. My friends have this area in the corner of their kitchen where they have their beer fridge and like their coffee makers, some trash cans, and it's kind of a big space. We want to build something that uses the space more efficiently, and we're going to do like a coffee bar with a wine fridge, beer fridge, and wine storage in it. And we're going to take some stuff out of this cabinet, so we're going to have to do some drawers. To start out this project, we're going to cut down the 4x8 sheets of plywood with the circular saw and then cut them to final dimension at the table saw and make a bunch of pocket holes. Let's get started. We have all the pieces for the base cut down to size, and now I'm going to connect them all with pocket screws. We have the cabinet put together, and this center part is going to be the wine storage. So we have these shelves that we are going to put in there and brad nail and glue in. And I cut a spacer for them so we can put the bottom one in, put a spacer, put the next one in, so they all have even spacing in between them. And I took the total length and divided it by the amount that we have minus the thickness of the shelves and cut a spacer. It ends up being 5 1/8. So we painted these shelves in the inside of the wine storage area prior to installing the shelves. Now they were really tight to get in there, so that made it to where a lot of the paint got scraped off when we were doing the installation. But it would have been really difficult to paint the whole thing once it was together. So I'm just gonna like touch up the shelves on the spots that need it. Still better than having to do the whole thing. We have the base put together and the shelves for the wine storage in. The next step is to put the side trim on, and then we'll do the face frame. So when you do the face frame, this is a pretty tedious process for something that has this many shelves. We are going to actually make the face frame in one piece and attach it all at once. And this is because you don't want the little tiny gaps in between that you would have if you cut and screwed and glued or nailed and glued the individual pieces on. We're gonna go ahead and do the sides first, then we'll have all the dimensions that we'll need to make the face frame. I have the opening where I'm going to put the 3 drawers, and it is 33.75 inches, and I want the drawers to be even. So minus the trim, which is 3 inches for 2 1x2s, I have 30.75 inches. So divided by 3 for 3 drawers, that's 10 1/4 a piece. So I took my combination square and set it for 10 1/4 and measured out where I am going to put the spacers for in between the drawers. The last part of the face frame was to do the wine storage sections. So it took us a little bit to figure out where we wanted these little trim pieces for the wine bottle storage. So we decided to line them up with the drawer trim and evenly space them throughout. And I'm gonna go ahead and pocket screw these in, and then we'll be able to attach the whole face frame all at once, glue it, brad nail it in, and move on to the drawers. we have the completed face frame. So now I'm going to attach it with glue and brad nails, and when I did the original pieces to build the base, I intentionally made pocket screws to later be used to attach the face frame. And this would be tremendously difficult to do after the fact, so that's why I wanted to do it before. And just goes to show, make sure you plan ahead when you're doing a project like this. If you're using pocket screws, know where you may need to use them in the future before you start putting it together. Next step is to cut the top. I'm going to use this piece of plywood that we have left over from the base for the top, and we're going to add some trim to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down on the table saw. We have the top cut to size, and I am going to use our leftover 1x2s to rip them to do the trim. Now I'll do the sides the same way and cut them to size for the back and the front, and we'll miter the edges and attach them with glue and brad nails. So I cut off some cone molding and attached it in here. Gotta fill in the nail holes, but I think it's gonna look pretty good. The next step is to install the door slides. And I'm gonna do that by putting this piece of wood here as a spacer. Set it up from the ground, and I'm actually not going to have it flush with the front. I'm going to have it flush with the trim to account for the trim on the front of the drawers. Just screw it on in.
Ready, action.
So now we have the part of the drawer slide that goes on the drawer, and we have a 1/2 inch spacer. So that's the drawer, and so we don't want it to end up looking like this. We are going to put this trim on it with glue and brad nails, which will make it flush. So I have my makeshift paint booth set up here, and now it's time to start spraying. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, leave me a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that now by clicking in the upper right hand corner. Thanks for watching. No, that's not what I need. That's what I need. See, you knew what I need. You can figure out how to clamp it.